What you're looking at might be the most expensive banana in history. In 2019, a banana taped to a wall sold for $120,000. 5 years later, the same artwork sold again, this time for $6.2 million. The artwork is called Comedian, created by the Italian artist Maurizio Cattelan. At first glance, it looks almost absurd, a fresh banana attached to a gallery wall with duct tape. But when it appeared at Art Basel, Miami Beach, the reaction was immediate. Visitors gathered around it, people took selfies, and the internet exploded with the same question. How can this possibly be art? Then something even stranger happened. Performance artist David Datuna walked up to the wall, peeled the banana, and ate it. He called the act Hungry Artist. The gallery calmly replaced the fruit because the artwork was never the banana. It was the idea. At this point, you might wonder something. When you look at this banana, you probably don't fall in love with it. You might laugh. You might feel confused. You might even feel annoyed. But then something happens. You start thinking. You start reacting. Why is this here? Why did someone buy it? Why is everyone talking about it? Even if you know nothing about contemporary art, the work forces you to react. And in that moment, whether you like it or not, the artwork has already done its job. But this story didn't really begin in 2019. In many ways, it began more than a century earlier. In 1917, the artist Marcel Duchamp submitted an ordinary porcelain urinal to an exhibition. He titled it Fountain. The exhibition rejected it. A scandal followed. Duchamp argued that art is not defined only by craftsmanship. Instead, art can be created through choice, context, and intention. With that gesture, Duchamp changed the direction of modern art. He asked a question that still echoes today. What makes something art? If Duchamp changed the rules of art, Maurizio Cattelan changed the tone. Born in Padua in 1960, Cattelan had no formal training as an artist. He developed his work independently and began exhibiting in the late 1980s. From the beginning, his practice drew directly from the real world. Objects, people, institutions. But instead of celebrating them, Cattelan often used them to question the authority surrounding art itself. His works combine humor with uncomfortable questions about politics, ethics, and morality. At first, they often look like jokes, but the joke quickly turns into something else. As Cattelan once explained in an interview, provocation is often misunderstood. He described it as a Trojan horse that brings into public conversation the subjects people would prefer to keep silent. Seen in this context, the banana begins to make more sense, because Comedian isn't really about fruit. It's about value. At Art Basel, Miami Beach, the banana initially sold for $120,000. 5 years later, it was sold again at Sotheby's for $6.2 million. The buyer was Justin Sun, a Chinese collector and founder of the cryptocurrency platform Tron. Sun later explained that when he first heard about the artwork in 2019, he thought it was pure genius. He said Cattelan's humor and sense of adventure resonated strongly with him. And shortly after buying the work, Sun did something unexpected. He ate the banana. The moment was almost too perfect. The most expensive banana in history had been bought by a man whose fortune comes from trading digital assets that do not physically exist. And then it disappeared in a single bite. Cattelan's works often begin as jokes, but beneath the humor lies something darker. As the artist once remarked, irony may be the most human response to the fear of death. What looks like laughter can also be a way of confronting uncomfortable truths. A century ago, Duchamp asked, "What is art?" Today, Cattelan echoes that question, but he pushes it further. What is art worth? What is art supposed to do? Cattelan once answered that question very simply. The duty of art, he said, is not to provide answers, but to ask questions, because the banana was never really about the banana, just as Duchamp's urinal was never really about plumbing. Both works reveal something about the way we assign value to objects, to ideas, and to the institutions that surround them. In a world where almost everything can be turned into a commodity, Cattelan leaves us with a final question. What exactly is worth taking seriously? Think about it.